This is just a quick message for all of the business owners, entrepreneurs, or executive leaders that are really struggling right now with the challenges created by the coronavirus impact on our businesses. From what we're seeing in working with client organizations, there's essentially two types of businesses. And I wanted to pass this on to give you as much encouragement as possible and some tactical, specific strategies that you could use to not just help your business survive, but also thrive. So real quick, the first thing we're seeing is that essentially there's two types of businesses, and it's following the mindset of the business owner or the leadership. They're either contracting or they're expanding. So by that I mean either they're contracting, meaning they're hunkering down, they're preserving cash, they're reserving resources, they're getting ready for the long haul to just survive. They're reducing expenses, especially labor expense. Doing everything they can to cut the fixed costs. In some cases, they're even planning on not paying their rent because they're trying to manage cash flow because of the impact of the top line revenue. Now, the other business, and it's the opposite example, they're expanding. They're taking advantage, or at least taking advantage of the opportunity that exists right now to do something different. They're investing in adding additional services or products. They're increasing their marketing and advertising spend. They're increasing their exposure. They're pivoting and doing more to serve a different type of audience using the capabilities and resources they have within their organization. So it's just striking to see how some organizations are using everything that's happening in our world right now to change the way they're serving, and they're expanding, and then others again are contracting and pulling back. So when I look at the businesses that are expanding, they're taking advantage of the circumstances and they're doing something to thrive and not just survive, I see basically three critical ingredients. First of all, they have an attitude of confidence. This is like an extremely positive, determined, optimistic attitude. These folks are focused on what's possible, not focused on the negatives. They're not focused on what's going to happen that's bad. Their high level of confidence comes from a belief that something good can come out of this. And that drives how they perceive the circumstances and where they see opportunities. The second thing is they have a plan. Now, the plan is not just a plan to survive. Okay, that's called a continuity of operations plan. That's how do we keep our core service capability functioning and basically just stay in business. What they do is their plan is a plan and a strategy to thrive. It's like, what can we do now to change the game that we're in, to take advantage of the resources and the people and the processes and other things that we have to be able to serve and make money and thrive and grow. So the first thing is having a high level of confidence, which is attitude. The second is a plan. And then the third thing is execution. These organizations and their leaders, they have an understanding of what their capabilities are. They know they have strengths, and they use that to create a blueprint for how to actually execute something that's going to put them in a better position. A lot of times they have to have an external coach, or they've got some person that can see everything through a fresh set of eyes. This is where I have a lot of fun when I'm personally involved with organizations, because when you work with so many different companies in different industries of different sizes, you end up seeing a lot of things that people don't see when they're just in one industry alone. It's just a bias. Sometimes we'll call it a blind spot. And so when you could create an execution strategy that has no boundaries, there's no blind spots, and you have a plan to make it happen and the confidence to do it, those are critical ingredients, are recipe for success for organizations that are using the circumstances today to thrive. So I'm going to pass on right now, in addition to that, three things that we're seeing and ways in which we could potentially help. First of all, we're in the talent business, talent, human capital management, talent acquisition, talent strategy, employer branding. And one of the things that we've been doing for years is helping organizations attract drivers. Drivers are hard to recruit for delivery, for truck, for bus operations, because there's just not enough of them. But for our clients, we've never ever had a shortage of drivers, never, because we know how to position the company to be an employer of choice. And driver recruiting is something that we've been doing very, very successfully for years. So that's a service now that we're providing to organizations that they need a plan to survive. If you're in a business where you don't have a delivery function, let us know. Let us help you. We can connect you with people that are looking for jobs right now. So we've cultivated a strategy in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but we serve other markets as well. It's all virtual. So regardless of what geography you're in, we can develop a strategy to get you drivers immediately. Now, we're not talking about the standard recruiting and staffing model that you see everywhere in the industry. If you just want a list of people that are willing to come work for you, either part-time, full-time, or 1099, we can get that to you. And it's not costly at all because it doesn't take us a lot of effort to find those people. The second way in which we're helping organizations and could be of value to you is a continuity of operations plan. A COOP, or continuity of operations plan, is basically a roadmap for business survival in the event of an emergency. It's a model that helps assess the severity of a problem and establishes an internally approved process for how you're going to keep things going, who's going to make decisions, the sequence and order of things. Everything from accounting to HR to payroll to service and delivery operations, everything. It even has a framework for how to notify employees. And just as a quick sidebar, on our website, we've got a link to Mark Cuban's comments about how if businesses don't show up well during this COVID-19 thing, their employees are going to remember. They're going to remember how they got treated. So your messaging and how you approach this stuff is absolutely critical. The other thing a continuity plan does is it provides clarity on how to respond to things before things get crazy. So like, you think things are crazy now? Well, if you're in a community where there's more of an impact, either more sheltering in place, more restrictions on business, or if there's actually people sick, you're going to have a plan. Okay, it can get worse, or this all could go away and get better. But businesses plan for the worst and hope for the best. So another thing that it does is a lot of organizations, if you're a mid-sized company, you have a master services agreement with potentially a large customer that requires you to have a continuity of operations plan. So it helps serve that purpose as well. And honestly, for a small to mid-sized business, this stuff is disproportionately critical because you're so fragile, something can knock you out. Now, more exciting than that is what I call a strategic continuity of operations plan. You don't hear this being talked about really anywhere, but people that are involved in mastermind groups and they're entrepreneurs, they think about this stuff all the time. What they're doing is they're taking existing resources and infrastructure and creating a strategy to maximize the benefits they can gain from the resources they have. So it could be from revenue diversification. That would be creating additional streams of revenue, business products or services. It could be alternative ways of promoting and delivering your existing products and services. There's so many examples that we see and we collect from working with clients and seeing other organizations right now. If you're struggling to add additional revenue or maintain revenue, talk to us. We can show you all kinds of really creative things in a strategic continuity plan. Another thing is adding additional services or products that you don't currently offer. When we look at an organization, we frequently see blind spots, but there are capabilities within the business that are underutilized. That if they could turn that around and become a product or a service to a different audience, they could have a whole new revenue center, a whole new pillar of revenue for the organization. So a lot of this has to do with maximizing multiple streams of income and creating revenue diversification. But there's also sometimes ways to to take intellectual capital and monetize it. So if you're an organization that does something really well, there may be an opportunity to provide coaching or training or downloadable products or resources that could pass that knowledge on to organizations that are not competitive. There's just so many things that can be done. So I want to encourage you, if you're a small business owner, if you're a mid-sized company, if you're a company that had maybe some large accounts that were dramatically impacted by maybe customers pulling back on their spend, reach out to us or come to one of our web pages where I'll put a link in this below where you can go and you can see how to sign up for a call with us, have a strategy conversation with us over the phone, or link to some of the resources that we have available, including the stuff I've just covered. Because any one of these things can be applied to any organization regardless of the size. So be of good cheer. I mean, regardless of your circumstances, somebody is out there that has already figured out a way of making lemonade out of this stuff. And if you are in a business where you're still kind of in survival mode and you're hunkering down and preserving resources and cutting labor and all those things, let's figure out how to pivot, first of all, your mind away from all of the contraction and start thinking large. Start thinking about expansion. Start thinking about what you can do different, how you can serve a different audience or a different customer base that is currently not being served today that can create a whole new opportunities for you. So again, I just want to encourage you that none of this stuff is insurmountable. You have people around you. You can connect with us. We're happy to provide you resources and opportunities that we have available through our customers and organizations, anything that we can do to help. I'm Mark Galvan from ProForce, and I hope you found this encouraging and some practical, tactical insight here as well. Take care.